We are going to be making the easiest bow you will ever make. We are going to use this Stylecraft yarn and a 7mm hook. Now this yarn is a little bit chunkier than 7mm. It does tell you to actually use a 10mm hook, but I'm going for a 7mm because I'm not too picky and I don't have a 10mm hook. So if you're using this yarn and you want a 10mm, just bear in mind this bow will turn out bigger than the one we're going to make. The bow is made with a granny square, so it's super easy in the respect you're just going to make a granny square and then we're going to make the middle, and then the construction of this is really easy. So for our granny square, the first thing that I am going to do is do a slip knot, and then we're going to pop our hook onto the slip knot. And we are going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we are going to pop our hook into the very first chain we made, slip stitch, and that will create a circle with our chains, and we will work into the middle of that circle. So to create the first round of our granny square, we are going to do a chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3, and then we are going to do 2 treble UK terms or 2 double treble US terms into the middle of that circle we have made. That's 2 treble UK terms or 2 double treble US terms into the middle of that circle we have made, and that will give us our first cluster because our chain 3 counts as a stitch. So whenever you're starting one of these clusters at the very beginning of your round, your chain 3 will count as 1 stitch. We're going to do our second treble cluster in here. So once again, 2 treble UK terms or 2 double treble US terms into the middle of that circle. And once you've done those 2 stitches, we are then going to chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And then you are going to work 3 treble UK terms or 3 double treble US terms into the middle of that circle, and then you're going to repeat that pattern again. So 3 chain, 3 treble, twice more, so that will give you 4 sides of your little square. So 3 treble and then 3 chain, which will be your next side. So once we've done this 3 treble, we're going to do 3 chain, and then you're going to repeat that around twice more until you get back to your chain 3 at the beginning. Pause the video. All the instructions will be on the screen, so don't panic. You will know exactly what to do if you pause here and then come back when you're ready to join that first round. So you will have 4 treble clusters or double treble clusters if you're in the US, and you will be ready to join them into a square. So here we have our 4 treble clusters or 4 double treble clusters. We're going to chain 3, and then to join we will slip stitch into the top of the first chain 3 that we made. So you can see here that's our first chain 3 and that's the top stitch, and all you're going to do is push your hook through both of those loops and then slip stitch. I push it through both just because it creates a little bit of a cleaner finish. If it's too fiddly and you just want to go through one, then go through one. But then you're going to slip stitch to join, And that is your very first round of a granny square, and you can see here we've got 4 sides, 4 corners, 4 treble clusters, and that is how you will start your granny square. And now we are going to show you how to build on that and do a couple of rounds. So the first thing we need to do is get to a corner space, which is this one here. And all you're going to do for that is just slip stitch in the next 2 stitches. So this is 1, and slip stitch again. And then you're also going to slip stitch into the corner space, and that is where we are going to start. So you're going to start with a chain 3 once again. Doing that slip stitch just makes it a little bit neater. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 treble UK terms or 2 double treble US terms into that corner space. This is going to be a little bit different because we're creating a corner. So 2 treble or 2 double treble US terms into that corner space. And then you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3, and then you're going to work 3 treble or 3 double treble US terms into that corner space again, and that is going to create your first corner. So 3 treble or 3 double treble US terms into that corner space. So that is our first corner, and that is what you're going to repeat all the way around, but we are going to need to create a space to travel to the next corner, or it's going to be really tight and it's just going to curl up and things. So what I'm going to do to get there is we are going to do a chain 1, and then we are going to work that corner again. So 3 treble, 3 chain, 3 treble UK terms, or 3 double treble, 3 chain, 3 double treble US terms. And then you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to repeat that twice more after this one. So 3 treble, 3 chain, 3 treble UK terms, or 3 double treble, 3 chain, 3 double treble US terms, and then chain 1, and you're going to repeat that twice more after this second corner, and then you'll be ready to join to complete the round. I'll leave the instructions up on screen. Pause the video here, complete that round, and then I'll show you how to finish the round and start the next one. So here we are, we have finished our second round, and now what we're going to do is we are going to do a chain 1 and then slip stitch into the top of the first chain 3. So you'd have already done your chain 1, and then you're going to slip stitch into the top of the first chain 3. You will realise in the next round why those chain 1s are so important, but just nicely do a slip stitch, and then that will complete your second round. Bear in mind, if you're using a thinner yarn and hook, your granny square at this point will be a lot smaller than the one on screen. Fabulous, that is your slip stitch. And that is round 2 of our granny square. So we will complete round 3 next, and that is going to be the last round I do with this one because it's such a chunky yarn, it's going to be really big. So let's head to round 3. Once again, exactly the same thing. We need to get to that corner space first. So we're going to slip stitch in those first 2 stitches so that we can travel to that corner space. That's 1 and 2. And then you're also going to slip stitch into the corner space. And then you're going to chain 3. So this is going to be our first stitch, as it were. 1, 2 and 3, and then 2 treble UK terms or 2 double treble US terms into that corner space. 1 and this is our second one. And then you're going to do your 3 chain. 1, 2 and 3, and then 3 treble or 3 double treble back into that corner space. 1 and this is 2 and this is 3. So to travel to the next space, you're always going to want to make a chain 1, especially in chunky yarn, because otherwise your square is just going to ravel up. So whenever you're going over a cluster, I would recommend chain 1, and then we're going to go to the next space. As you can see now, there is a space in the middle, and in that space you're just going to do a 3 treble cluster. So chain 1 and then 3 treble UK terms or 3 double treble US terms into this next space. So this is 1 and 2 and 3. And then once again, you're going to chain 1 to get to your corner. And that is going to be your pattern around. And you're going to repeat that 3 more times. So 3 treble, 3 chain, 3 treble in the corner, chain 1, 3 treble in the next space, chain 1, repeat 3 more times, and that will get you to the end of this round, and that is going to be the end of this granny square for us because we're using chunky yarn. Once again, I will leave the instructions up on screen. I don't know if you can hear my cat in the background meowing, but she's basically telling me I need to do something. Once again, I'll leave the instructions on screen, so pause the video with the instructions on screen. If you get really stuck, just pop a comment in and I will answer those as soon as possible. You can always contact me via DM on Instagram as well, which I'll leave my Instagram in the description below. So pause the video here, get your granny square to the point where we're nearly finished, and then come back and I'll show you how to close off the round again. And this is our final piece to close. What we're going to do is this first chain 3, once again, we are going to slip stitch to the top of it. Going through both loops if you can, but if you can only go through one, don't worry, because it is really, really fiddly. So slip stitch to the top of the first chain 3. Like so, and then we are going to fasten off and weave in our ends, and then we will start with the middle portion of our bow. So fasten off and weave in your ends. If you want to block your granny square at this point, you can. I wouldn't say it's necessary, but you can do so if you want to have those corners a little bit more on point. And once you've fastened off, weaved in your ends, we are then going to make the middle of our granny square. So we have our granny square, and what we're going to need to do now is to make a centerpiece for the square, and then we will really easily show you how you can pop it through the middle and create your bow. Now if you want to pop this onto a hair tie or something like that, you're going to need to pop your hair tie in before you create your circle, but I'll show you at what point you want to do that. First things first, you want to, because you might be using a different yarn, so what you want to do is get your square and then just ruche it up so that it's in this kind of bow sort of shape. So weave in your ends and then ruche it up so that it's in this sort of bow shape. And then what you want to do is take a piece of yarn, so I've already got my piece, and wrap it around and pull it as tight as you can, and then snip it, and that's the length that you're going to do your chain piece. Now you could just do this and tie it, and there's your super easy bow, but we're going for something a little bit more durable and something that looks a little bit nicer. And then once you've got that piece here, you're then going to do your chain that matches the size of that piece. So I will do mine, and you can do the same amount of chains that I am going to do. So starting off with a slip knot, and then I am going to start with a chain of 10 just to see how that goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then all I'm going to do is lay my chain out here, and because your hook's on the end, it'll provide it with a nice little bit of an anchor so you can just straighten it out. And then grab my piece of yarn and lay it next to it. It's the right size. So then I'm going to chain 1 for our turning chain, so it will be 11 chain in total. And then I'm going to turn and work in the top of each chain across. So not this one, that was our turning chain, but in the top of this one, and then double crochet UK turns or single crochet US turns in the top of each chain across. So what I'm going to let you do is get to the end of your chain, pause the video, and then come back when you are ready to create your next steps. Alrighty, so we have our piece here. This is what it should look like. Now what we're going to do is chain 1 and turn your work so that we're working the other way, and we are just going to work in the back loop only of our stitches. So what that means is, here we have a stitch. If I pop my hook through, you have 2 loops on your stitch. Bit trickier to see with this yarn because it's so fluffy. 2 loops. So what we're going to do is just work into this one. And the way that we do that is we go down to the middle and push out of the back, and that's working in the back loop only. And you're going to do 1 double crochet UK turns or 1 single crochet US turns into the back loop only across. That's 1 double crochet UK turns or 1 single crochet US turns into the back loop only across. And because we did 11 chain, but it was 10 chain plus a turning chain, that will give us 10 stitches at the end. When we get to the end, we are not going to fasten off because we are going to make our loop, and then we will pop our bow through our loop, and it will be easy peasy. And I'll also show you just very, very quickly how you can pop it onto a headband, a hair tie, if you really want to do that as well. The reason we work in the back loop only is just because it gives us a nice middle ridge for the middle part of our bow. It just adds a little bit of extra detail. Alrighty, we are at the end, and that is what your middle of your bow will look like. And if we just go in a little bit, you can sort of see the ridge there. So it's giving that nice ridged effect. Alrighty, so I am going to pop my bow on a hair tie, but you can pop it on a present or have it dangling from the Christmas tree. You can stick it on a headband. It's just the easiest bow ever, and it's got so many uses, especially at Christmas time. And the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to pop my hook back into my yarn first, and then we are going to crochet across these edges. But before we do that, I'm going to want to pop my headband on like so, fold it in half, making sure your headband's in there, and then all you're going to do is we're going to crochet through both sides, so no sewing, through the first side and then through the second side. Just try and do this evenly. It's going to be tricky because we've only got the end of 2 rows to work with. Yarn over, pull through both, yarn over, pull through 2, and 1 more. So I'm going to do this one probably here, one side, in the corner for the other side, yarn over, pull through both, yarn over, pull through 2. And that is the easiest bow middle you are ever going to make. You want to chain 1, fasten off, and weave in your ends, and then I'm going to show you how quick this will be to pop together. Okay, we have our granny square, all ends weaved in. We have our middle with our hair tie on, and then all we're going to do is making sure you keep that hair tie to the back. You're going to just fold up your granny square like this, so we're in a little bit of a fan shape, and literally thread it through the middle. Now this is going to be a squash and a squeeze, and the reason for that is because you really want that bow shape, so persevere with it. It might be tricky if you've have problems with your fingers or your hands. You might want to ask someone else to do this bit for you, but it's really simple, so anyone can do it. It's not like a special technique or anything like that. And then you just want to thread it through to the middle. Don't worry so much about titivating it just yet. We can titivate after. Just about getting it through there. So I'd say I need to go a little bit more. Okay, so I'm happy with that placement. And now we just need to, 1, check that my seam is at the back, which it is. 2, check where my bow middle's going, because it should be double the thickness and it's not. And then 3, just make sure it's a nice bow shape and it's not all scrunched up. And that, my friends, is the easiest bow you will ever make. The nice thing about this is, like I say, you can use it for a lot of things. Hair tie, on a headband, Christmas decoration, Christmas bow for presents. You can pop it, you know, to adorn, like if you're making a Christmas sweater or anything like that. It is just super easy and versatile to use as well. If you enjoyed this pattern, please let me know in the comments, and let me know if there's anything else that you would like me to show you how to make. Please chuck a like on this video. It helps me out a lot and it tells YouTube that people like my content, and it means that it gets pushed out wider. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to bring you my next tutorial. Stay tuned to the channel, because the next tutorial will be a lovely Christmas star, and I will see you in the next one.